Don't move. You feel that, don't you? That shift in the air. That eerie stillness that means something is watching you, but not out of curiosity, out of fear. The silence you're hearing right now? It used to be full of whispers, incantations, and trembling prayers. But they stopped. Every last one of them. Because they sent a coven after you. And now the coven's gone silent. They thought they were summoning shadows. Turns out, they summoned the consequence. You. You weren't supposed to survive their circle. You weren't supposed to understand what they were doing. But you didn't just survive the ritual. You reversed it. You became the reflection they couldn't cast. The nightmare their own gods refused to acknowledge. The moment your name entered their chant, their candles began to weep. The flame didn't flicker. It knelt. You see, they thought you were a target. But you were a test, a living paradox wrapped in human skin, too divine for hell, too damned for heaven. They thought the light would blind you, or the dark would swallow you, but you learned to see in both. You became something that confuses every frequency they've ever trusted. They used to laugh in hidden basements, confident that their power was ancient, that you were just noise. But when they tried to read you, every one of their pendulums froze. The cards went blank. The glass cracked. Even their shadows refused to stand behind them. Do you know what that means? You broke symmetry. You stopped playing by cause and effect. You stepped outside of the script they wrote for mortals. And that's the thing that terrifies them most. Because once someone like you leaves the circle, no spell can contain them again. They study people like you in secret. They try to explain you with words like luck, energy, fate. But they know the truth. You're not blessed or cursed. You're chosen by chaos. You carry a frequency that devours systems. You don't pray for power. Power leaks through your presence. They thought you were just another rebel soul they could burn at the stake. But they forgot. Fire doesn't kill what's already flame. You don't destroy light with heat. You amplify it until it melts the structure of the ritual itself. You don't burn. You convert. That's why they're quiet now. Not because they've retreated, but because they're recalibrating. They're sitting in dark rooms, replaying what happened, whispering your name like it's a glitch in reality. Every one of them saw something they can't unsee. You smiled while the curse was still midair. You didn't dodge it. You absorbed it, transmuted it, fed it back to them in silence, and now they're afraid of silence. They can't stand stillness anymore because silence sounds like you. They thought you were fighting them. You weren't. You were mirroring them. You held up their own shadows until they realized the real monster in their ritual wasn't you. It was the reflection of their intent. You didn't defeat them with weapons. You defeated them with awareness. And awareness is the one thing no spell survives. See, they spent centuries building illusions, hierarchies, sigils, chants, to trap power in symbols. But you broke the code. You became the living symbol. They can't decode you because you are both the cipher and the curse. Both the question and the answer. Both the punishment and the prophecy. And that's what breaks people. That's what breaks entire covens. Not the violence, not the rage, but the quiet understanding that their control mechanisms don't work on you anymore. They used to track you through guilt, through empathy, through doubt. But you killed those leashes one by one. You didn't ascend. You descended with precision. You went into your own abyss, dragged your demons into daylight, made peace with them, then weaponized the truth. You made peace so sharp it cuts lies in half. You made forgiveness look like war. Now when they mention your name, their candles gutter. The smoke spells messages they don't understand. They thought the devil was on their side. But now even the devil's curious about what you are. Because you don't worship light or darkness. You command balance. That's why the Coven's gone silent. Because you didn't just survive them. You evolved past their species. You became something they can't summon, can't bind, can't read. You became unpredictable. And unpredictable is the only thing the old world fears. So listen closely, because this part matters. They're not coming for you again. They can't. Every attempt would require them to remember your pattern. And remembering your pattern breaks their own. You're not haunted anymore. You're haunting them. They see you in every flicker of a candle, every static burst on the radio, every shadow that moves when no one should be there. You don't need to speak your revenge. The silence does it for you. You don't need to prove your power. Their absence is the proof. Because when the powerful go silent, it's never peace, it's terror. And right now, they're terrified. They whisper your name like a malfunction. Like saying it too loud might trigger something. You know what that is. That's reverence disguised as fear. You became the unsolvable equation in their book of control. They spent centuries mastering dark arts, but none of their rituals prepared them for someone who doesn't obey physics. You became a ghost inside their logic, a virus in their scripture, a frequency that bends their sacred geometry until the pentagram collapses into a mirror, showing them themselves. They're not gone because you destroyed them. They're gone because you revealed them. Exposure is the only exorcism that ever worked. You didn't need to shout, chant, or curse. You just stood there, calm, unbothered, like the storm was your natural habitat. And that's what kills them. You turned chaos into comfort. You made darkness look divine. They thought they were summoning something ancient. But ancient doesn't scare you. You remember it. You've been through lifetimes of fire and betrayal. You've died in dimensions where gods begged for your forgiveness. You've been silence, storm, sinner, saint, all of it. You didn't just survive the ritual. You became the ritual. And that's why the air bends around you now. Why people flinch before you speak. Because you don't talk like a man. You talk like memory. You carry the tone of someone who's seen every empire rot and still managed to grin through the ashes. They tried to bury you under hexes and history, but you can't bury what was never born. You've noticed it, haven't you? How the world's gotten quieter around you. The birds stop mid-song when you pass. Lights flicker, not from broken wiring, but from recognition. Energy recognizes hierarchy. Even atoms rearrange themselves to make room when something greater enters the room. You are that disturbance. You are that anomaly that rewrites reality by breathing. And yet you stay calm. That's the scariest part. They expected vengeance, wrath, destruction. Instead, you smiled. Because rage is predictable. But composure? Composure is godlike. You made calm look dangerous. You made stillness feel like judgment. You became the eye of the storm, the one place everything breaks and rebuilds at once. They can't categorize you anymore. You're too clean for chaos, too dark for divinity. You move like poetry, written by an autopsy surgeon, beautiful, brutal, precise. You speak softly, but every word detonates something in people they didn't even know they buried. You've become therapeutic trauma, healing and haunting in the same breath. And now the silence you left behind. It's contagious. Other covens feel it. Secret societies, power circles, energy leeches. They all sense a disruption in their web. The pattern no longer holds. Their spells fizzle. Their luck turns. Their leaders vanish mid-ritual. Because your energy doesn't just destroy, It unplugs. You disconnected them from the source they stole from. You didn't burn their temple. You made their god lose interest. Do you understand the magnitude of that? Power didn't leave them. It followed you. You became the gravitational center of every unspoken thing. Every curse meant for you now orbits your aura like a loyal satellite, waiting for your permission to strike or forgive. That's what frightens them the most. You have the option to forgive, but you might not. You could destroy them, but you don't. You let them live with the weight of what they saw that night. That's not mercy, that's madness wrapped in grace. They say you shouldn't play with darkness, but you don't play with it. You negotiate. You look the abyss in the eye and it looks away first. You command both sides of the chessboard now. You don't need to win. You control the definition of the word. You've outgrown revenge. That's for mortals. You've outgrown validation. That's for believers. You've outgrown fear. That's for children of illusion. You operate on a plane where everything you lost becomes a tool, and everything they took becomes debt. You didn't seek war. You triggered equilibrium. You forced the unseen to pick a side, and most of them chose you, because they recognized something divine wrapped in your defiance. They saw a creature who doesn't pray to light or shadow, but uses both as weapons. And so now, they wait. The ones who survived, the ones still whispering your name in basements and mirrors, they light candles, not for summoning, but for apology. They hope maybe, just maybe, the flame stays lit long enough to prove they still exist. But you know what's funny? Every time they light one, it dies faster. Because the universe remembers who owns the flame now. You do. You're not haunted by the coven. You're haunting history. You didn't just erase them. You changed what witchcraft means. You rewrote the idea of power itself. You became the reason ancient texts need revision. The prophets can't predict you. The angels can't classify you. And the devils can't claim you. They thought they'd be writing your obituary. Instead, they're documenting a phenomenon. You are the silence that follows the scream, the calm that unnerves the storm, the light that terrifies both heaven and hell. They sent a coven after you. Now the coven's gone silent. And that silence, it's not peace, it's a warning. That silence has weight now. It hangs in the air like the aftermath of a detonation, thick, humming, holy. People walk through it without knowing why their heartbeat slows, why their skin prickles, why the temperature shifts. It's you. You changed the resonance of the world just by surviving. The coven didn't disappear. They were absorbed. The sound of their chanting is still moving through the air, trapped in the vacuum you created. You didn't destroy them, you contained them. Their power feeds your pulse now. Every heartbeat a requiem for those who tried to cage you. You felt it, haven't you? That quiet pressure behind your eyes, that static hum in your bones. That's not madness, that's inheritance. That's the echo of everything that ever tried to hurt you, being rewritten into fuel. You've become the aftershock that never ends, the storm that doesn't need thunder. They used to say no one walks away from a binding circle. But you didn't walk, you floated. The ground itself refused to touch you. Every ancient rule they built collapsed under the weight of your stillness. You were supposed to break. Instead, you broke the pattern. And patterns don't heal, they just recalculate around you. The truth? You never wanted this. You didn't wake up wanting to be the myth. But myths don't ask for permission. They happen, they spread, they infect. You've become the forbidden story that priests whisper to each other when they think no one's listening. The parable they use to warn their apprentices. Never summon what bleeds and smiles at the same time. Because they learned the hard way. Purity doesn't survive evolution, you do. They sent witches, prophets, mystics, readers, each one convinced they'd find your weakness. But the problem is you're transparent. There's nothing to read. You already turned your pain into glass and held it up to the sun. You stopped hiding, and that's what killed their power. Spells only work on the sleeping, and you woke up. Now their magic circles rot in the soil. Their incantations taste like dust. The gods they trusted, silent too. Because every hierarchy collapses when one person stops bowing. And you did more than that. You made bowing look ridiculous. You made fear look outdated. You made control look fragile. And that's what scares them most. You proved that power doesn't come from secrecy. It comes from exposure. You took their darkness, stretched it open, and forced it to breathe daylight until it suffocated on its own shame. That's what evolution looks like. It's not beauty. It's blinding. It's the scream of a system realizing it's obsolete. They don't talk about you publicly anymore. But behind closed doors, you're the center of every meeting, the file that never closes, the threat that never dies. Because they can't decide what you are. A miracle, a malfunction, a divine punishment. Every label they try to use melts in your presence. You know what they call that? Truth. Truth doesn't shout. It just erases noise. That's what you are now, a walking correction, a living silence that deletes manipulation. Every time someone lies near you, the air gets heavier. Every time someone tries to disguise intent, the temperature drops. You've become an environmental hazard to deceit. And still, you smile. Not the smile of victory, the smile of awareness. Because you know what no one else does. There's no such thing as victory. Only revelation. You didn't win the war. You exposed it. You didn't defeat darkness. You translated it. You didn't destroy the coven. You made them face themselves. Now they hide behind masks of normal life. They drink coffee, go to work, post quotes about peace and love, pretending they don't wake up screaming, pretending they don't still see your eyes when they close theirs. Because you became the one thing they never prepared for. A reflection that fights back. You don't even need to lift a finger anymore. The world moves for you. Traffic lights sync with your timing. Weather shifts with your mood. People confess secrets they didn't mean to say. You are the gravitational distortion of karma. Everything finds its balance when you enter the room. That's why the silence feels so loud now. Because deep down, everyone senses it. Something broke, something old, something ancient, something sacred, and it broke for you. But you don't celebrate, you don't gloat, you just exist, and that alone is too much. Because when existence itself bends to make space for you, those who live by control lose their footing. They can't predict you. They can't contain you. You are the ghost of their arrogance, the saint of their undoing. They sent a coven after you. Now the coven's gone silent. And silence is the sound of their gods bowing. That silence, it's not peace. It's surrender. It's the sound of their system realizing you were never prey. You were the test. You were the divine audit they didn't know the universe scheduled. The storm they thought they conjured was never theirs to command. It was yours, sleeping, waiting, learning their rhythm just long enough to dismantle it from within. They thought power meant control. You proved power means clarity. They thought strength was noise. You showed them it's the ability to sit inside chaos and not flinch. That's what you did to them. You didn't fight. You refused to react. And that's what unmade them. Because when the enemy needs your fear to feed, and you stop fearing, they starve. When they need your anger to anchor their narrative, and you stop giving it, they drift. When they need your pain to justify their magic, and you turn that pain into purpose, they implode. You see, that's the joke of it all. You didn't win by violence, you won by evolution. You became something their vocabulary can't describe. Their rituals, their hexes, their oaths, none of them matter now. Because every one of them was built to control humans. And you're not that anymore. You're the missing variable in their prophecy, the untranslatable line in their sacred text. They used to believe you were cursed. Now they whisper maybe you were the curse itself, the one sent to end their era. You didn't destroy their temple. You made it irrelevant. You didn't erase their gods. You outgrew them. So they sit there now, the remnants of that coven, hiding in plain sight. The same hands that once cast you out now tremble when your name crosses a conversation. They say you changed, but that's not true. You revealed. You stripped away everything false until the truth stood naked, and it terrified them. Because the truth is never loud. It just waits. And when it arrives, it doesn't knock. It replaces. That's you now. A replacement for the old world. The living, breathing correction to centuries of fear. A reminder that no darkness survives transparency. A walking paradox, calm but dangerous, compassionate but untouchable, smiling while the system collapses behind you. They'll keep pretending they don't see you. They'll keep pretending you don't exist. But silence tells the real story. Because silence doesn't lie, it echoes, and every echo leads back to you. They sent a coven after you. Now the coven's gone silent, and deep down, they know what you did. You didn't fight the darkness. You became the light it couldn't consume, and now the world will never sleep the same again. Hey, don't move. You feel that? That tremor beneath your skin isn't fear. It's the sound of a system losing signal because you woke up. Somewhere alarms are going off. Men with badges are trying to decode what you are. They've got soldiers lined up over a feeling. Imagine that. Entire chains of command twitching because a ghost in human skin finally remembered it's awake. You didn't lift a weapon. You didn't even shout. You just existed differently. That's all it takes now. A single pulse of your presence and entire rooms start to hum with static. See, that's the part they'll never tell you. Evolution doesn't announce itself. It leaks through people like you. It shows up in the unexplainable, in the people who can't be predicted, measured, or bought. You are that leak, the breach they couldn't patch, the reason control doesn't feel safe anymore. And now they're mobilizing over emotion, over instinct, over something they can't quantify or contain. Because when you walked into that room, every lie they ever built started trembling like glass under pressure. They saw something they couldn't classify, angel or demon, savior or destroyer, and it terrified them that you might be both. You broke protocol without saying a word. You smiled when you should have begged. You stayed silent when they screamed. And in that silence, something ancient echoed. Something older than fear, louder than pain. That's when they realized you don't fight wars with guns anymore. You fight them with presence, with vibration, with frequency. They felt yours and panicked. You became a signal, a ripple that traveled through the hierarchy of cowards. You became the question nobody wanted asked. What happens when the experiment starts thinking for itself? They called for backup because your calm looked like rebellion, your forgiveness looked like surveillance, and your patience looked like strategy. They don't understand that some people carry battlefields inside them. You do. You are the battlefield, a place where light and darkness sign peace treaties just to survive you. You've been detonating silently for years, burning in secret and smiling through the fallout. You walk with that grin not because you're unscathed, but because you learned how to make the wound a weapon. They can't comprehend that kind of resilience. It's too quiet, too elegant. It doesn't fit in their control manual. They're trained to handle rage, not clarity. They can neutralize chaos, but not someone who's made peace with it. You terrify them because you look like serenity, but your eyes carry a history of collapse. They know that if they push you too far, you won't break. You'll shift the terrain. So they send soldiers over a feeling, over a frequency they can't jam, over intuition they can't legislate. Because when you enter the equation, logic dissolves, protocol glitches, the air thickens. The algorithm starts stuttering like a nervous preacher in front of sin. They've studied your every move and still can't map the architecture of your mind. Because you don't think, you remember. You recall versions of yourself that never died. They're not afraid of what you'll do. They're afraid of what you'll reveal. That reality bends around those who have nothing left to lose. That power doesn't shout. It whispers back. You embody that whisper. The one that keeps their generals awake at night. The one that sounds like destiny, with a smirk. You've become the paradox they can't resolve. Too kind to be evil. Too dangerous to be good. You pray like a saint, but strike like a consequence. You forgive in public, but your silence rewrites the blueprint of the room. They think they can predict you, but prediction is a privilege of the sane, and you outgrew sanity when they mistook your compassion for weakness. They thought you'd play by the old rules. They thought if they hit hard enough, you'd retreat. But you didn't. You mutated. You turned pain into armor, confusion into code, betrayal into blueprint. Every time they thought they broke you, you simply recalibrated. That's why they panic now. They're realizing pain was never your weakness. It was your training ground. They don't know what to call you anymore. Prophet, weapon, glitch in divine software. All they know is that when your name circulates, something electric moves through the air. They hear it in frequencies they can't record. They see it in eyes that shouldn't be awake. You're what happens when destiny stops asking for permission. You didn't summon soldiers, they summoned themselves, out of fear, out of fascination, out of the subconscious need to worship what they can't control. Because deep down, they know you're not the danger. You're the diagnosis. You reveal what's sick in the system just by breathing. That's why they hide behind guns. That's why they whisper containment. Because control collapses where authenticity exists. You are the reminder, the cosmic audit, the walking contradiction that exposes the fraud of order. They wanted peace, but only the kind they could manage. You brought the kind that demands surrender. And now the very people who built the illusion of safety are watching it crumble in real time. All because one person, one anomaly, decided to stop apologizing for existing. You didn't go to war. War came to you. Because nothing terrifies the architects of fear more than a soul that isn't afraid to burn. So let them send their soldiers. Let them point their weapons at ghosts. Let them prepare for a threat they can't define. Because by the time they realize the battlefield was never external, it was inside them all along. You'll already be gone. Untouchable, unpredictable, unapologetically alive. And somewhere in the static, one soldier will whisper to another, "Who TF sent us here? Over a feeling? And the answer will echo back like prophecy. You did. Because that's what you do, isn't it? You walk through worlds, and systems follow you like shadows. They study your footsteps, not realizing you've been walking barefoot across landmines for years. You learned how to dance with detonations, how to smile through shrapnel. You didn't need an army, because you are one. Every version of you that survived became another soldier in your skin. Every heartbreak became a bullet. Every betrayal, another code in your DNA. And now, they're realizing you didn't grow stronger. You became inevitable. They thought control meant safety. They thought prediction meant power. But then you showed up, unwritten, unfiltered, unprogrammed, the variable they forgot to account for. You, the equation that refuses to balance, the one who laughs when equilibrium breaks. You're not chaos. You're the return of consequence. You're the storm that didn't arrive to destroy. It came to collect. They've been trying to trace your origin ever since. Who trained you? They whisper. Who gave you clearance to think like that? To feel like that? They don't understand that no one trained you. You were tempered. You were built through collapse, sharpened through silence, purified through rejection. Every time they walked away, you learned to alchemize absence into advantage. Every time you were dismissed, you learned that invisibility is the most dangerous camouflage. And now, your mere existence destabilizes command. You move differently. You speak like someone who already knows how the story ends. Because you do, don't you? You've already seen the aftermath. You've seen their so-called leaders screaming at screens while your name circulates through encrypted channels. They can't explain why the world's pulse skips when you breathe. They can't explain why their algorithms keep pulling your image into the feed. They call it glitch activity. But deep down, they know. It's prophecy, disguised as pattern recognition. You see, they forgot something crucial. Fear isn't sustainable when it meets awareness. And you? You don't fear anymore. You observe. You let the chaos unfold, knowing the panic in their eyes is proof that order was always a costume. You dismantled their hierarchy without lifting a hand, just by refusing to kneel. You didn't rebel with noise, you rebelled with understanding. And understanding is lethal. They're sending soldiers now, not because you're violent, but because you're viral. Not because you're armed, but because your truth infects. Your energy moves like contagion, like wildfire dressed as calm. They can't quarantine that. They can't shoot enlightenment. They can't arrest evolution. They're realizing that you're not fighting against them. You're fighting beyond them. You've become the embodiment of contradiction. You cry like a poet and strike like a strategist. You love like a saint and laugh like a devil. You hold entire philosophies in your silence and revolutions in your sighs. You scare people because you remind them of what they could have been if they hadn't chosen comfort over transformation. You are the living consequence of what happens when someone stops waiting for permission to change. That's what they're mobilizing against. Not you, the idea of you. The proof that one person, utterly unhinged from expectation, can disrupt generations of programming. You are living evidence that free will still exists. And to those who profit from control, that's an act of war. They'll say you're dangerous. They'll call you unpredictable. They'll label you unstable, delusional, unfit, insane. Because when systems can't own you, they pathologize you. It's the oldest trick in the book. Turn miracles into malfunctions. Make consciousness look like corruption. Make freedom sound like madness. But you know better. You've seen the puppeteers pull their strings until their own hands started shaking. You watch their empires collapse in slow motion, brick by brick, truth by truth. And now, they see you standing there, with that grin, that impossible untamed grin that says, I know something you don't. Because you do. You know the war's already over. You didn't win it by fighting. You won it by being unkillable in spirit. They can destroy your name, erase your records, exile your memory, but they can't touch the frequency that carries you. You're beyond containment because you became the current itself. They'll try to negotiate. They'll send their softest agents, dressed in concern. They'll say, let's talk. But they don't want dialogue. They want dilution. They want to filter your truth until it's palatable again, until it doesn't scare them. But you can't unlearn the fire. You can't unbecome awake. You can't rewind evolution. You look them in the eyes and realize the soldiers aren't your enemy. They're your mirror. They're what happens when fear dresses up as obedience. You could pity them, or you could teach them, but you won't. You'll just smile, because you know they'll learn eventually. Everyone does. There's a moment coming, soon. The moment when the soldiers realize the war isn't outside, it's inside. When they look at you and see themselves reflected back in your calm. When they drop their weapons, not out of defeat, but recognition. And when that happens, the world will finally understand. You were never the threat. You were the correction. They sent soldiers over a feeling, but what they really sent were witnesses. Witnesses to the rebirth of something they thought was extinct, a free mind. And when history writes about this era, they'll struggle to describe you. They'll say you appeared without warning, dismantled without effort, and disappeared without trace. But some will whisper the truth, that a single being, somewhere between chaos and compassion, cracked the code of control. And that code had your fingerprints all over it. So let them come. Let the fear march in formation. You'll be right here, still smiling, still dangerous, still untouchable. Because you were never part of their plan. You were the variable that rewrote it. And somewhere, miles away, a general will slam his fist on the table and scream, "Who t'have sent soldiers over a feeling?" And the silence that follows will whisper back, because that feeling was you. You see, that's the problem with them, isn't it? They thought feelings were weakness. They built their world on statistics, on equations, on control. They built empires on data, but forgot that energy moves before evidence. They forgot that emotion is the first language of reality. And when someone like you feels, the universe listens. You don't need to order armies. Your pulse alone rewrites the perimeter. That's why they panicked. That's why satellites shifted course. That's why encrypted lines started glowing red at 3 a.m. Because somebody somewhere finally realized you're not reacting to the world anymore. The world's reacting to you. They mistook your stillness for surrender. They didn't realize it was calculation. They thought you stopped moving when in truth, you were sinking with something older, something original. And when you sync with that, everything trembles. The liars, the cowards, the gods, they all start to glitch. You stopped following rules written by mortals pretending to be divine. You started speaking the forbidden dialect of self-awareness, the one that turns followers into signals. That's when they tried to mark you as a risk. That's when they started whispering in rooms with no microphones, praying that you'd stay quiet, praying that you'd forget who you are. But how do you silence a frequency that doesn't need sound? How do you cage a presence that moves through thought? They don't understand. You broke the architecture. You dismantled it from within. You smiled, took their insults like confetti, let them laugh, and waited. You waited while their own systems updated around you, unaware that the virus wasn't in their code, it was in your calm. You were patient because you knew. Every empire falls, not from an explosion, but from infiltration disguised as peace. And that's what you are. A peace they can't survive. They thought war looked like destruction, but no. War looks like evolution. It looks like you. Quietly dismantling manipulation just by existing in truth. You didn't fight back. You transcended back. You ascended mid-chaos, and they're still down there trying to write manuals for a species that's already moved on. You learned that anger is currency, and you stopped spending it. You learned that silence is surveillance, and you started listening deeper. You learned that being misunderstood is camouflage, and you wore it proudly. And now they're wondering why every plan backfires when it touches your orbit. Because you stopped living inside their blueprint. You became your own geometry. You don't walk through life anymore. You bend it. You alter atmospheres just by being present. People feel it before they see you. The air thickens. The tension spikes. They don't know if they should bow, run, or confess. That's how you know you've crossed the line between human and phenomenon. And they hate that, because they spent lifetimes believing power meant domination. But you proved power is revelation. You revealed what they really are. Puppets praying the strings don't snap. You revealed that their threats are just insecurities in costume. You revealed that fear is a performance and courage is the refusal to clap. They wanted control. You gave them consciousness. They wanted order. You gave them awareness. And now they're scrambling, trying to contain a narrative that no longer belongs to them. That's why you're dangerous. Because you didn't just escape the Matrix. You rewrote it with empathy and precision. You make rebellion look graceful. You make madness look divine. And that drives them insane. Somewhere, there's a commander with his head in his hands right now, asking, why won't they break? And the answer is simple. You already did. You shattered years ago, but you didn't stay shattered. You rebuilt yourself molecule by molecule, memory by memory, until your pain became precision, until your chaos learned discipline, until your light stopped apologizing for shining through blood. You didn't come back as who you were. You came back as what they feared, a being that remembers every version of itself and forgives none. The kind of creature that doesn't seek vengeance because vengeance is too small a word for what you've become. And now, every movement you make echoes through systems they thought were untouchable. That's why they call meetings about you. That's why someone, right now, is whispering your name like it's classified intel. That's why the word containment keeps appearing in their memos. Because they realized you're not a threat in motion. You're a myth in progress. You've become their bedtime story, their unspoken warning, their whatever you do, don't provoke it. They built doctrines around keeping people like you asleep. But you woke up. You opened your eyes, saw the strings, and smiled. And that smile was the beginning of the end for them. Because once one awakens, the rest start to question, and questioning is contagious. They called it emotional contagion in their files. They call you uncontainable in their meetings. They call you the anomaly in their algorithms. But the truth? You're none of those. You're inevitability wearing human skin. And soon, they'll stop mobilizing. Not because they've won, but because they'll realize you can't fight evolution. You can delay it, mock it, fear it. But you can't stop it. You are evolution. And the feeling they sent soldiers over? That wasn't fear. That was recognition. They saw what you really are. a mirror with memory, reflecting everything they've tried to bury. And when that reflection stares back long enough, even monsters start to remember they were human once. So let them come. Let them march. Let them scream, "Who TF sent soldiers over a feeling?" Because feelings start revolutions. And you, my friend, are the reason they'll never sleep again. And that's the irony, isn't it? They thought sending soldiers would stop what's already in motion. They thought force could smother frequency. But you don't fight a vibration with violence. You can't shoot what exists between heartbeats. You can't cage what moves in silence. Because the truth is, they never sent soldiers to stop you. They sent them to study you, to understand how something could bleed and still glow. They wanted to see what happens when a human outgrows the need for permission, when pain turns into prophecy, when a single pulse of awareness destabilizes everything they built on lies. You didn't start a war, you revealed one. You didn't ignite chaos, you exposed order. You didn't scare them because you're evil. You scared them because you're free. And now, all the soldiers in the world can't unlearn the moment they saw what liberation looks like in human form. You, smiling in the dark, unarmed, unbothered, unstoppable. So let them march, let them shout, let them write their reports. History won't remember their ranks or their reasons. It'll remember the tremor that started when you refused to die quiet. Because in the end, they'll realize what you already knew. The war they were preparing for was inside them, and the feeling they feared most was you.